Okay, it is. All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for giving up part of your Saturday afternoon to join us. So Kate and Wayne from London Wellness Academy have kindly jumped on board, no pun intended there, to speak to you guys about career opportunities at sea. Now, this is particularly exciting because, of course, with the last few years and everything that's happened, we haven't really been able to do this. So this is a very exciting opportunity for you guys that graduates from the past couple of years haven't had. I'm very interested to learn more as well. So what we'll do, I'll hand over to Wayne and to Kate. They will present. There will be an opportunity to, I guess, present any questions that you might have, but have a listen to the presentation first. Your questions might be answered there. And there will be some time at the end for questions. Now, timing wise, guys, we're thinking like about an hour roughly, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I'm going to mute myself now and hand over to Kate and Wayne, and I'll let them take it from here. Thank you so much, guys.
Perfect. And you can see the screen, right, Katie, that I've just shared? Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kate, and obviously from the London Wellness Academy. I'll quickly introduce myself and then pass it over to Wayne to introduce himself, and then we will get started with a presentation, which will hopefully answer all your questions and queries about working on board within the fitness area. So just quickly about myself, I've worked for the company just over 10 years now, 4.5 of those on board. I started at the age of 19 as a hairdresser and progressed into receptionist, assistant spa manager, and then into spa manager, managing a small team of 12 and up to what I would call a medium-sized team on ships of 27 staff members. So I have a very good understanding of the business. After those 4.5 years, I decided to live the land life, get the house, get the dogs. And now I've been in the recruitment role for just over 5.5 years. So lots of experience in both sides of the industry, I suppose. And Wayne?
Thanks, Kate. Yes, so my name is Wayne Zimmer. I'm originally from New Zealand. Don't hold that against me, guys. You know, lots of love. I first joined working for One Spa World in 2001. So I've been with the company now for 21 years. I originally started working as a PT on board, and the reason I did it is because I really just wanted to get away from my little town, and I wanted to go out and see the world. And I just thought I was going to go out for, you know, maybe one contract, maybe two, but I got bitten by the travel bug when I was on board cruise ships. I worked on 115 ships in 5 years. Very similar to what Kate was talking about. I started as a PT on board. I got promoted to fitness supervisor where I was working for our Miami office. I went into spa management training on board as well. And then finally I was offered a position to move to land in London to take over the fitness training academy here in London. So that's just the quick short version of my introduction. It gets you guys to know a little bit about me and where I'm from, and that I'm a PT just like you. Always been a PT, always loved the fitness industry, and just love the opportunity to be doing it at sea as well.
Perfect. So we're going to going with the presentation. If you want to jot any questions that we can go through at the end of the presentation. So as a company, we are one big company split into two different areas. London Wellness Academy, who recruit and train staff ready for employment with One Spa World, which is our Miami office. So you deal with us at LWA, and then once you are on board, sign your contract, you are employed by One Spa World. As a company, we are the largest spa company in the world, as we do have our land-based spas as well as the ones at sea. And as you can see on the screen, these are the cruise lines that we work with. You may recognize some of them: Royal Caribbean, Carnival. Just before COVID, we signed with Virgin Voyages, which is Richard Branson's cruise line. So it's really exciting that we got to work with him. You know, he's got planes, trains, rockets. Obviously, he needed cruise ships in his collection as well. Now, for your first contract, we will place you onto a ship. And then any future contracts you decide to do, you can request, maybe you would like to stay within the same cruise line, a different ship. Maybe you want to try a different cruise line, see how they work. You're looking at the itinerary, the size of the vessel. You want a smaller ship, a larger ship. So it is nice that if you decide to do more than one contract, you have that choice going forward. What we're looking for is certified in your profession, which I'm sure that Fit College will take care of. And the next one is a team player. So as fitness on board, I see this as in two ways, because on some ships we have one fitness instructor, some ships there are two, and on the larger vessels, sorry, there are three. So there's that initial teamwork with inside the gym, but then also ensuring you're working with the rest of the spa as well. And this is because, one, you want to hit your own target, and we want to hit team target together. Now, you may have 2,000 to 6,000 passengers on your ship. They're not all going to be spa and wellness fitness people. So the ones that are, we want to ensure that we keep them within the spa. So, for example, you may have a guest that will benefit from a massage, or you may have a guest that will benefit from acupuncture, as we have acupuncturists on most of our ships. And as you may know, they treat pretty much everything. So you can have those conversations with your guests, send them over there to the acupuncturist for a consultation, which we call cross promotions on board. So there's that initial teamwork with inside the spa. Also, my favorite one, hard working attitude. It is hard work on board a cruise ship, and I do believe that it's hard work for you guys as personal trainers on land as well, if you're already out there getting that experience in, because you have to PT people before work, after work, when they're doing their regular 9 to 5. And it's long hours on board a cruise ship as well. A typical day is 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now, the way I do like to compare working on board to working on land is that life is a little bit easier on board a cruise ship. Someone makes your food, someone cleans up after you've eaten your food, someone can clean your cabin if you want, someone can clean your clothes. It's 2 minutes in the elevator to work in the morning, whereas you're not stuck in traffic in the morning at home. You're not then coming home at the end of the day, making your dinner, cleaning it up, doing the laundry, doing the washing. So everything is just so much easier to work on board a cruise ship, but it is hard work, okay? Also, the next one, professional appearance. So you will have a gym uniform to wear. It's black with a white trim, and then you just get your own black trainers, and it comes in different styles depending on the weather, trousers, shorts, etc., different style t-shirts. And then for the ladies, we just say for minimal makeup and hair up, and for the gentlemen, clean shaven and neat haircut as well, because obviously you are representing the rest of the spa. Also, the next one is business and sales minded. You will have targets to work towards in your services and in your retail. As a company, we expect you to achieve and exceed these targets. But as a spa manager, I'd always say to my staff as well that you should have your own target, because this is a commission and tip based job. So if you make X amount of revenue, you know you're going to put X amount in your own pocket. So you'll have your own target for this cruise, for this month, for this contract, how much you want to take away at the end of it. Okay, so I'm sure your target will be a little bit more than our company's. Also, confident speaking. This is a big one as fitness, as you will provide a lot of seminars and presentations on board to our guests. So I appreciate public speaking is a big thing within your gym classes, but I can assure you when I'm doing a gym class, I'm probably not listening to the instructor that much, because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, when is this 30 seconds going to end? Whereas in your presentations and seminars, they will have, be sitting right in front of you and listening intently. Also, your confident speaking, I also look as in a one-on-one scenario with your guests, because on land with your PTs, they come in once a week, twice a week, and you build up that rapport over a long period of time. Whereas these guests are on board for 5 days, 7 days. So you need to be able to build that rapport much quicker. And that does take a level of confidence. You're interacting with people from all over the world as well. The minimum age to apply is 18, and also we do no medical restrictions. Basically, every single crew member must complete a maritime medical before they board the ship. This is to ensure you're fit and healthy with no underlying health conditions that may flare up while you are on board. As a company, we are comprised of 87 nationalities, so I think it's really awesome that you work within a team from all over the world, as well as the crew in the other departments, and as I just mentioned, the guests that you are working with as well. So the process. So if this is for you, once you've heard all about the presentation and got about the job, then the first stage is to be interviewed. In this interview, it's a very similar presentation, just a bit more in depth now you're actually applying for the job. And then also a practical part as well, where you will provide a HIT session in the interview. If you are successful, I will be the point of contact to help you get through to training. Every single person that we recruit across the world, every profession has to attend training. So everyone receives the same standard and level of training to provide the same standard and level of experience to our guests on board the ship. Because we stagger everyone's contract, you will literally just replace the fitness instructors whose contract has ended, so it doesn't interfere with business. So when you step on board the ship, you have a few hours to organize yourself and get straight into work, and you'll be confident to do that because of the training that you've had. Okay. As Fitness, your training is 3 weeks, and once that is complete, you will be then sent out to your cruise ship, and your 9-month contract starts when you step on board the ship. And the nice thing is you will be trained by people just like Wayne, who have been there and done that on board the cruise ships. They have been successful on board. So you are really learning exactly what it needs and takes to be a successful PT on board the ship. And what will you learn? I'm going to pass this over to Wayne because he's obviously has the most knowledge on this point as what you ought to be learning.
Thanks, Kate. So basically a huge amount of training. I'll try and keep it quick so that I don't bore you guys with everything we're going through. But as Kate mentioned, one of the things I love about this job so much is that we have a dedicated team who are focusing on helping you to grow and to build your business. So we have the training component, which is the first 3 weeks where we're going to cover some of these subjects. But before I go into that, I just want to chat a little bit about the infrastructure that we have in place that we love, because we've all been personal trainers on land. And one of the things we felt when we came together as a group is that sort of once you go out into the industry, sometimes there's not a lot of support for you to continue learning and continue growing. I know if you go along to a gym and you pay your monthly rent, they're happy to take the rent, but they don't often have a training program in place to help you continue to evolve. So we currently have 3 full-time supervisors who are now doing the job that I used to do many years ago. And their job as fitness supervisors is to fly around the world and to come on board your ship and mentor you in how to make more money. We also like to have a mentorship program on board where we partner up our new fitness with experienced fitness that can even be on different ships so that we can continue that training and support. So you never feel like you're left alone and you have to figure it out yourself. We're fully here to support you. So one of the first subjects we cover in training, you'll see, is InBody and BCA, which is human composition analysis. I'm sure as personal trainers, all of you know about body fat, you all know about muscle, and you all know about metabolism. But one of the things that we forget is what the body is most made up of, which I'm sure you guys will all know. I'm sure you're busy buzzing in. It's water. Okay, so between 65 and 70% of the body is made up of water, and what we will train you in is how you can look at that water from a body composition analysis and what that water can indicate. Things like cellular inflammation, which can be affecting their weight loss. It can be leading to things like high blood pressure. So this is one of the areas that we love to jump into in training, because we talk, as personal trainers, we talk a lot about muscle, fat, metabolism, but what we don't talk a lot about is water. So we want to teach you how to dive into those analysis and pull out the information on water and share that with your clients as well, which is a huge area that I learned when working for OneSpa World. Another one of the subjects is holistic health training and anti-inflammatory nutrition. For a long time, the industry was very focused on nutrition, but focused on the aspect of calories. Nowadays, experts are focusing on inflammation. It's all about how we can reduce inflammation, because we realize that there's a huge connection between people who are struggling to lose weight and inflammation of the fat cells. People who are struggling to put on muscle and inflammation of the muscle system or the central nervous system, and also inflammation of the digestive system and how this is reducing people's energy levels. So this is an incredibly exciting area that for a lot of PTs that come to join with us, they don't have a lot of knowledge or experience in anti-inflammatory programming. And so this is something that we love to teach. Also on that aspect of anti-inflammatory nutrition, it's all about how to get the best results out of your body. So we've partnered up with the incredible Dr. Barry Sears, who uses his nutrition information. And this is what we're going to train you in, so that you can actually provide people with some fantastic sports nutrition advice that not only is going to improve their performance, but it's going to also help improve their longevity, their energy, and their life. So that's one of the areas that we love to include in training. One of the next areas is microbiome, so the function and supplementation. And now I'm sure if any of you have had any awareness in the news in the last 2 or 3 years, microbiome has become a huge buzzword. And the way that the organisms work within our body have been linked to digestion, weight loss, energy, and health. And yet as personal trainers, it's not something that we spend a lot of time talking about originally, but we should, because it's so interconnected with the results that our guests get. I'll give you an example. I think it's 67% of adults suffer from digestion problems. We know that 1 in 3 people are affected by cancer, and we know exercise is great, but we also understand that it doesn't always fix everything. So during the training course, we'll educate you on how to improve this state, the microbiome state within your clients, and improve their internal health, which is another fantastic area to add on. So really during training, our goal is not to teach you personal trainers, because you've already had a fantastic training with Fit College of how to become personal trainers. What we want to do is we want to increase your education to give you these new areas to help create a holistic personal training business. So that, yes, you can work with people in personal training, but there's so many other areas to work in the fitness industry on board. So as we've mentioned nutrition, we've mentioned microbiome health, and the next on the list is marketing and sales. It's a huge area, particularly for PTs who are starting out. I remember last time I was in Australia, it was probably doing interviews for the fitness jobs. It was probably about 10 years ago. And we were standing in this absolutely stunning yoga studio, beautiful wood paneling, mirrors, and, they could control the heating and the music. It was absolutely stunning. And I said to the college, I said, well, this is an amazing venue. How did you get such a beautiful interview room? Because normally we're put in sort of conference halls and things. And they said that the yoga studio had gone broke. And this is a little bit of the sad reality about some of the fitness industry, is we have fantastic people that don't know how to market themselves, and they don't know how to sell themselves well. And it means that they can't create enough revenue to keep their business going. And this is one of the areas that we specialize in. Our goal is entirely based on how we can create revenue from all sorts of ages, all sorts of types, all sorts of backgrounds. And so we want to teach you those tools so that you can learn to run a successful business. And this is the area that we're most proud of, because we think that our marketing and sales training and support is second to none. So our goal, even if you have no experience in the fitness industry or no experience in sales, is to teach you how you can become better at it and find a way to make it work for you. Health and wellness consultations. So onboard cruise ships, last year we sold $21 million worth of a fantastic product called Good Feet. Now this is something that you've probably never heard of, okay? But as I just mentioned, 21 million US dollars we sold last year. And it's based on very important principles that 50% of working adults report back pain. 25% of adults suffer from knee pain. And when you're in pain, it stops everything. Do you want to go for a run? Do you want to hit the gym when you're in pain? And the answer is no. So it stops people from being active. So what we did as a business is we went out and we created a partnership with the company Good Feet, which is an American company. They're America's #1 arch support. And we created a program that aligns ourselves with them so that we can educate our guests. You'll get the training as part of your course, and then you will learn how you can recommend these amazing arch supports as well. And the benefit from these has been incredible. We've had people that have been walking around with knee pain for years who have come back to us after 2 days saying, I no longer have knee pain. So it's definitely something that we're really excited about, because we know if we get rid of pain, we get people back into exercise, which is great. Also, our specialty classes, things like high intensity interval training, cardio, boxing, indoor cycling, yoga, Pilates, and meditation. And if I'm honest, more and more of my clients want me to combine some kind of mind-body training with their traditional personal training now than ever before. So it's quite common for me to combine some kind of Pilates in the warm-up to activate the core, or to have my guests ask me to finish their personal training session with some meditation because they had a really stressful day. So these are all the skills I learned in training, and it helped me to become a better personal trainer. As I mentioned, I could go on about training all day long because it's my passion. It's my program. I love to give it, but we don't have time. But let's just say that our goal in our training course is not to teach you things you already know. It's to teach you what you don't know so you can have many, many more skills. Back to you, Kate.
Perfect. Thank you, Wayne. So as I said, a typical day on board is 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. with a 1-hour lunch and a 1-hour dinner. And you will always have a 10-hour rest from when you finish work until you start work the next day. This is due to maritime law. So it's not like on land where, it's coming up to your half-an-hour lunch break and the boss goes, oh, someone's just walked in, can you show them around? And you have to eat your sandwich in 2 minutes. No, you have to have that hour lunch, hour dinner, and that 10-hour rest. And with your time off, you earn a minimum a day and a half off per 7 days. Now, the reason I say minimum is you can earn extra time through incentives. Incentives can be hitting your cruise target, your day target, your retail target. You'll earn extra hours. Cross promotions, which we talked about earlier, being a team player, you can earn extra hours. So you can definitely add onto that day and a half of per 7 days. Now, with cruise ships, there's 3 different types of days. So the first type of day is embarkation day, which happens to be the first day of the cruise. And first thing in the morning, we don't literally, but we kick the previous passengers off the cruise, and the new passengers start embarking by noon. And what we do that afternoon is something called spa tours. So as fitness, you would stand in the gym, we'll have a hairdresser in the salon, a massage therapist will have a stand, and the rest of our team will walk the guests in small groups around the spa, 1, to show off our facilities within the spa, but also 2, to introduce them to you as our staff, and also what we have to offer. So you'll have them signing up for your classes, signing them up for your seminars, and explaining what you're going to be doing in the gym. Into the afternoon and evening, we'll then obviously go into treatments, etc. as well. The second type of day on board a cruise ship is a sea day. And this is our big business day because, as the name says, we're at sea all day and the guests definitely aren't going anywhere else. So we always work a full day on our sea day, so our 7 to 9. Wayne, I don't know if you want to quickly jump in as to what we'd sea day schedule looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And this is another huge benefit to the job that I really, really love. Nobody really told me about this, but I mean, obviously I was a personal trainer on land for years before I started joining ships. And I love personal training. I love helping people. But what I didn't fully understand when I first started in the industry is that sometimes it can be a bit monotonous in the fact that, you know, you're doing PT after PT after PT after PT. I certainly know, you know, our big money making PT on land, they love to fully book their day, you know, working from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And one of the things that I found really refreshing about working on cruise ships is that your day is so diverse. Yes, we're definitely getting the PT sessions in at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then, you know, at 7 o'clock in the morning, we might be running a group stretch class. And then, you know, from 8 o'clock, we might be doing an indoor cycling class. And then 9 o'clock, we might have a personal training session. And then at 10 o'clock, we might have a wellness workshop. And then 11 o'clock, we might do a Pilates session. And then we head off for lunch at 12. We come back in the afternoon and we might be doing some body composition analysis with some guests, and then some work on clients on nutrition and microbiome. And then the afternoon, we might do a couple more PT sessions before we get in a really nice sunset yoga class out on the open deck overlooking the ocean. And then we finish off with a couple more body compositions and an evening personal training session and one-to-one stretch. So within my day, I've definitely done my personal training sessions, but I've done a whole host of other really interesting money-making fitness services, which helps to stop my day from feeling like I'm just doing back-to-back PT. And it helps to break it up and make it really exciting.
Perfect. And then the third type of day is your port day, which is the day we are docked in a destination. If it is your time off, you can get off the ship. Now, just to make you aware, as a spa and gym, we are open every day of the cruise. So the team is normally split into two, Team A, Team B. Team A are off today, Team B are working, and vice versa the next port day. But if you are working on a port day, that is when you will take your incentive hours, a longer lunch, finish later. So it's nice you can incorporate those in as well. And obviously the big perk of the job is you do wake up somewhere different every single day. Now, just to give you a quick list of where I got to travel over the 4.5 years I worked on board, it does give you a quick idea where these ships go. So I have done a contract down by you around Australia, New Zealand, Fijian Islands, a little bit of Asia. I've done Med, Europe, British Isles, Iceland, Quebec, Canada, New England, down the coast, New York, Miami, Florida, Caribbean islands, Mexican Riviera, Cartagena, Panama, Aruba, San Diego, San Francisco, up to Canada, Seattle, Vancouver. I've done a season in Alaska, my favorite place. And I've also done Hawaii and French Polynesian Islands a couple of times, Moorea, Papeete, Tahiti, Honolulu, to name a few. So I've been super lucky. I will always be, you know, say, for example, my one contract was just down around Australia. I had another contract where I just did the Caribbean, and my other ships, I was lucky that they moved around a lot to be able to see all of those different places. Some of the things I've done in my time off, I've skydived in Honolulu, I've swum in the Great Barrier Reef, been in a helicopter over the Great Barrier Reef, I've been in a helicopter over the glaciers in Alaska, landed on the glaciers and gone husky sledging. I've swam with the stingrays and sharks in Moorea, rode horses through waterfalls in Mexico. Some days you'll do crazy things and think, oh my goodness, I never thought I'd do anything like this in my life, which I definitely had that thought as someone was pushing me out of an aeroplane. And then other days you will literally sit and have a nice lunch overlooking a view like this, which is one of my favorite places, but super overhyped now, which is Santorini. You could be in Miami, you'll go shopping. You're in the Caribbean, you go to the beach. You're in Europe, you walk around the city. So it's really nice that basically you're getting paid to go and travel the world from someone else's pocket, right? So this is the really nice part. And it's your time off. I can assure you that my time off is very different now. And I will spend the rest of my weekend cleaning the house and walking the dogs. So I definitely miss my days off on the cruise ships and get very jealous of people's pictures that I see on Instagram. And life on board does vary from cruise line to cruise line, as they all do have their own little ways of operating, and every member of the team must abide by ship rules. You really do live, work and socialise with the spa team and crew on board. And excuse my terrible joke, everybody is in the same boat. Everybody is away from family and friends at home, but you do really create those friendships and relationships while you are on the ship. On a personal note, I actually had a FaceTime with a friend yesterday. He was an officer of the bridge, and I did quite a couple of contracts with him actually on Princess, and his job was to drive the ship underneath the captain. And he used to bring his girlfriend on board. I then helped pick out the engagement ring. I was then there for the proposal. I'd been to the wedding, and their little boy, who calls me Auntie Kate, turned 5 yesterday. So yeah, you do really, I mean, make friends for life. Hopefully, I mean, I've made it 9 years down the line with them. But it is a really nice place to meet people from all over the world as well. I could definitely go couch surfing if I wanted to. And accommodation and meals are provided for you, and you do share your cabin with one other person of the same sex, usually from the spa. Now, also working in the spa does give you certain privileges a lot of the other crew members do not. And on most of the cruise lines, you are able to go out into guest areas, smartly dressed, and go and watch the shows, the dancers, the entertainers, go to the bars, go to the specialty restaurants, go to the nightclubs, and enjoy that guest lifestyle. One of our ships has an ice bar, you know, like how they have everything made of ice and the cups in ice, and you get given a big throw. We've got a robotic bar on one ship where you put your drinks order in an iPad, the robot appears, makes it, shakes it, and serves the drink in front of you. Some of the ships have lots of activities you can join in as well, as long as it's a quiet time of the day with the guests. But we have ice skating rinks, surf machines, rock climbing walls. One ship has a go-kart track above the top deck. We've got a ship that's coming out in next year. It's going to be the largest ship in the world, and that's going to have one of those like assault courses, and you're kind of like hanging off the side of the ship. We've got one with a big ball where you go, like in the London Eye, you stand in there and it moves around the whole ship. So it's nice, you can go out and experience these different things within the ship as well as obviously crew area as well, where you can mix with all the other crew members, which is nice because it's nice to find other people in different departments. We have crew events, crew karaoke, crew parties. So it is a super nice and sociable place to be. And Wi-Fi is available on board. Also, it's pretty much free in every port that you go to now, shops, restaurants, etc. as well. So it's really easy to communicate with people at home, and also your Instagram will be popping, or TikTok. So obviously the big point, how much money can you earn? And the sky really is the limit, okay? It's a commission and tip based job. Just to point out, this is the lowest commission structure that we have across the ships. So I do just have to go by this one, but it does vary slightly to some of these numbers. You get your service commission, so a percentage of the cost of a service you are providing. Your retail commission, which is 9%. So any good fee supplements you sell, you get 9% of the cost. And your auto gratuity, I will just point out, most of our ships are 18%, but obviously, as I said, we do have to just show you the 15. And just to refresh you on the word auto gratuity, it means automatic tip. So for example, if we went for dinner and our food cost $100, our bill's going to automatically be $115. And that's because 15% of 100, 15, is added on top of the bill to go to the person who served us the food. Okay, so you receive the auto gratuity. All the guests are aware of auto gratuity on the ship because it's in the restaurants. My list is going to come out here. The bars and the spas, okay, on board the ship. So it is across the ship to get that auto gratuity. Now, just to make you aware, that is not a basic wage, but there is a minimum monthly guarantee of $800. So that means within a month, if your service commission, retail commission, and auto gratuity do not add up to $800, the company will top your money up. So for whatever the reason, the three things only added to $600, the company will go, here's your $600 plus an extra $200 to make the $800. But if they add above 800, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, the sky is the limit. That is how much you go home with. Now, I always like to point out this minimum 800 is very much a security safety blanket as a staff member on board a cruise ship. Okay, please don't go away from the call thinking that is all you're going to earn each month. It's just there as a safety blanket for you. Okay. Wayne, do you want to just quickly explain how the commission breaks down with the, is he there? Oh, he's just showing something. Wayne? Is he there? No.
Just
Yeah, I'm
given
back.
him,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
access,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for that, Kate. I can't turn my camera on, so I'll save you that and just go with the audio instead. So what Kate was talking about is something that's really, really important. There are two different types of people that like to come to work for us on board cruise ships. We have
we can see you again, Wayne, just so you know.
Perfect. All right, I won't do anything rude. We have the type of people that absolutely love travel, and that's the whole reason why I joined cruise ships. I just wanted to get away from New Zealand. I wanted to see the world. I'm sure most of you know what it's like when we go on a holiday. It's, you know, New Zealand, Australia, or Bali, and I wanted to see the rest of the world. I wanted to cruise amongst whales in Alaska. I wanted to see the bright white nights of Talon, which is where there's no sunset. It just stays sunny all night long. I wanted to go to Antarctica. So, you know, these were what attracted me to me. So there's a huge amount of people that come to us because, you know, their goal is to see the world and they really want to travel. But there's another group of people, and this was me. I changed. My first contract was to travel. My second contract was all about making money. And that's really what I want to talk about, because I had no idea of how much money I could make and what I could do. So, you know, it doesn't matter to us if your goal is travel and making money, or making money and travel. You're going to get both. That's where this job comes into its own, and nothing can compete with it. So I started in the PT industry in New Zealand. I was dropped into a big gym. I was in a small town. There was only 2 gyms, but I was dropped into a big gym with loads of other PTs that had much more experience than me. I was the new kid. Whenever a new member walked into the gym, we'd all be fighting it out to see who could get to them first, so that we could make our money. And of course, the experienced PTs were better at talking, better at training, and often they would get the clients. But I still had to pay the rent. And I know nowadays a lot of gyms, they do, you know, rent reductions when you're getting started. But, you know, having to sign up for a 1-year contract without having any clients is a pretty daunting task. And that was really hard for most of the PTs that I started with. You know, we all love exercise, we all love training people, but love doesn't pay the bills. So one of the things that Katie mentioned is how we have a minimum guarantee of 800. And I think that's really important that you guys understand that this is your safety net. When I was a PT on land, if I didn't have a successful month, I still had to pay my rent. I still had to pay, you know, my accommodation. I still had to pay my food. I still had to put gas in my car. So on land, if you don't have clients coming in, it costs you a lot of money. You have to dip into your own savings. One of the things I love about cruise ships is you never have to do that. You have 0 expenses on board. You know, your food is cooked for you. The gym, there's no rent to pay in the gym. So let's imagine you have your worst ever month and you don't get a single personal training session in. Our company will give you, Katie said 800 US. So yeah, it's around about, I think 1,000, let's see, 1,200. Yeah, about 1,200 Australian dollars. Now, I'd love you guys to tell me about a gym that existed on land that would give you $1,200 per month if you had a bad month. They don't exist. It's just something that does not exist out there, right? On land, it's all about the bills that you have to pay. So I think this is a really, really important area for trainers who are just starting out, who maybe don't have the confidence to buy into a 12-month PT contract on land, and are worried about the bills. It's a very real concern. That is one of the reasons why we offer this minimum guarantee. So I was crunching the numbers and I was looking at the latest data from PayScale Australia, and it shows that the average hourly rate in personal training, it works out to be around 5,400 per month. Australian dollars, right? So that's great. That's fantastic. But let's imagine we also have to look at what we have to pay in terms of tax. So I did a few numbers. I did some crunching. So the first thing that we have to pay on land is income tax. I know we don't like it, but often, we do have what we declare we do have to pay tax on anyway. Okay. And then we have the rent that we have to pay in the gym. And then we have the accommodation that we have to pay. And then we have the transport to work. As Kate mentioned, for me to get to work on a cruise ship, I walk up a flight of stairs and I'm at the gym. So I didn't sit in traffic. I didn't have to wait around and I didn't have to pay anything. Also, there's that huge monthly cost that most personal trainers know about, which is called food. We do tend to like to eat and we like to eat well. So we spend a lot of money on food. And then you have your other tangibles like electricity and water. And I think if you look at what an average personal trainer is earning, and then you take away those costs, which are incredibly high, Australia's got some very, very high cost of livings. It works out that, you take away those costs and the money that you're left with is a fraction of what you've got. It's close to 10% of what you earned. Now, that's for a personal trainer that's got his personal training clients booked. For a new personal trainer starting out, that number drops even more. So to think that you earned, $5,400 a month is great. But if you're only having 10% of that at the end of paying your bills, that works out to be about 500 to 600 Australian dollars. Now, the amount that Katie mentioned, which was our minimum guarantee, is more than double that. So as I mentioned, even in your worst possible week, you're going to be doing better than most personal trainers make on average in their first year of being a PT in Australia, which I think is fantastic. We do have some average numbers. So I crunched the numbers on our staff, and in 2019, so we're talking pre-COVID when the world was normal, our average Australian trainer was making for himself in his pocket 1,800 per month. Okay, so that's just an average to give you an understanding of how much they were putting into their pocket. Now remember, out of that money, there are no expenses coming. Okay, so there's no mortgage to pay, there's no rent, there's no electricity, there's no food. That is money that you can purely save or spend. It depends on if you want the latest iPhone or you want, a Gucci handbag, then it's all there for you. If we jump to our top 50 trainers in the company, so on average, we're hiring between 300 to 350 trainers per year. If we look at the top 50 trainers, these trainers were taking home close to 4,000 Australian dollars a month in terms of income. Now, obviously that's, a great example of what potentially can do. And there are trainers that are still taking home, our top 10 trainers are taking home much more than that. But the real potential for income is fantastic because of the lack of expenses. And that's what we focus on teaching our trainers. It's how to make money. And we have trainers that come back for 2 or 3 contracts. They go home with their wad of cash. They put down a deposit for a house. They put people into the house to rent it so they can pay their mortgage. And then they go on cruise ships and they do it again. So we have some personal trainers around the world who are under the age of 30 that have over 5 properties that they now own. Now, this is an incredible opportunity because I'm sure most of you will be aware that property prices keep going up and up and up, and having the money to save a deposit is a huge challenge for a lot of people. Having this opportunity to save a large amount of money in a short space of time with no expenses is a way of getting around that. So I fully encourage trainers, if they're wanting to, open their own gym, or if they want to buy a new car, or if they want to get on the property ladder, that coming and working for us for a couple of contracts is a fast track way of getting that money. And, as I mentioned, some have done it and then they rent out the house, because if you don't need to live in it, you can have someone else paying the rent, paying your mortgage, and then go back on board and do another 2 to 3 contracts and save up for another house. and become a property millionaire, retire at the age of 40, or carry on doing personal training if that's your dream, if that's your goal. So I know for me, it was something that I really learned about in my second contract. And by doing that, it's allowed me to get my own properties and to get me to a position where I never would have been able to get to if I had been PTing on land. It would have taken me years to get there. So I think one of the other important things that we sometimes overlook as well is when you are a PT on a cruise ship, if I was thinking back at land, there's 16 other personal trainers in the gym with, excuse me, with me. We're all fighting for that next client. On board cruise ships, the maximum you're going to be fighting with is 2 others with, 4,000, 5,000 guests. Most of the ships I worked on, I was working with only 1 other trainer, right? So what do you think's better for making your money? Fighting it out with 16 other trainers, or being on board a cruise ship with only 1 other trainer where you can share 2,000 passengers each? I definitely think the latter is much easier for you to get started in your personal training business as well. And one of the other things that we often forget is that, when you go out into the PT world, you go to work in a gym that's established. So those members have been coming along to the gym. The bulk of those members have been going along to that gym for years. Now, what do you think is an easier way of making money as a PT? Do you think working in a gym that's got members that have been there for years? Or do you think if you could go to a gym that just opened and it was brand new and all the members were new? Obviously as a trainer, being able to work in a new gym is fantastic. And that's the thing people don't always think about with cruise ships. Every 7 days, we kick out all of the passengers and a whole bunch of new passengers arrive. So it's like opening a brand new gym every 7 days and letting all these people in. And there you are. You are the only personal trainers smiling and waving as they walk in the door for their journey. So that's something that's really exciting that also helps to increase the amount of revenue that you can make, but it also helps to increase the experience that you get. I know that I was working on land for about 4 years before I started working on cruise ships, and working with the same clients was fantastic. But in my first contract, I gained more experience on a cruise ship in 9 months than I did in my first 4 years. And the reason is because every week I was working with different clients with different backgrounds, with different conditions. So it really helped to improve my experience and my confidence as a personal trainer much faster than I would have got it on land. And one of the jokes that I always like to tell my students is the great thing about cruise ships is if you do a terrible personal training session, then you only have to worry about it for 5 more days until the passenger gets off, and then you never have to see their face again. So, it's a great learning curve, and it's very forgiving because the new passengers arrive and they don't know if you stuffed up last week or not. So from that point of view, it's a really nice place to be. So yes, as you can see the commission structure there, we've talked about the minimum guarantee. That is higher than what most personal trainers can save because there is no expenses coming out of that, okay? But just as Kate mentioned, we don't want you to earn that. We want you to earn much more than that yourself. And on average, most of our trainers from Australia are making double that themselves per month, which is great. The commission structure is in place there. We're going through a situation where we have a brand new gym. We have people that are only with you for 7 days. And you know what it's like on holiday. People love to spend their money. So very different from on land when they have all their other bills. When they come on holiday, they've got money to spend. So, that opens up a fantastic opportunity for earning as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Wayne. So just to let you know as well, we do pay you every 2 weeks and provide you with an international Visa debit card called Brightwell. You can use it in ATM, shops, restaurants like a regular Visa debit, and also download a free app where you can transfer your money back to your home account or check your bank statements as well, just like regular online banking. Now, just before we go any further, I do that there are costs involved in joining this company, okay? And we As you can see on the list, these are some of those. There are always been costs and there always will be costs. And I do just want to make you aware of them at this point. Now, the exciting thing is, though, going into 2023 is that we have decided to have our training, our fitness boot camp actually in Australia. And I don't think we've done that for the last, how long has it been, Wayne?
It's been 10 years since we've
10
been
years.
down there
So
running a boot camp.
it's super exciting. So just to let you know that now, for example, if you've applied in the last 10 years, you have to get yourself to training, and training was in the UK. Okay, so I think it's super exciting that we're going to bring this back and be able to have this opportunity to have the boot camp in Australia. And just to give you that date that is scheduled, it is the 8th of May next year. There is a training fee, okay, which is $495, a medical, which is around $300 to $500. I'm not quite sure what it is in Australia at the moment. And then we do just need a police check. Obviously, we are putting you onto a confined cruise ship. Now, with the C1D visa, we do reimburse this cost for you, but it is a visa that every single crew member needs, okay? Now, I think with the training fee, yeah, so obviously that goes through, and then we provide you with your training uniform as well. Okay. So
guys,
flight
just
training, not so much. Pardon?
Absolutely. So as Kate's mentioning, you know, we've been out in the industry and we've priced up the cost of our training, and it would be close to $3,000 if you were paying for the training that we were giving you. So just to keep things in perspective, we're definitely not asking you to pay the full price of the training, but that is to cover the resources, the cost of the trainer who will be coming down to Australia to train you. It's to cover the manuals that we give you. So it's really just to cover the costs of getting you trained and getting you on board. It's definitely not, you know, it's a 1/8 of the cost of what the value is that you'll be getting from the training.
And as a company, obviously we pay towards the training as well. Also, we pay from, well, it won't be from London, it'll be from Australia. So from Australia, we will fly you to your cruise ship. So we could fly you to Europe, we could fly you to Miami, we could fly you to Alaska. So we pay for that flight. And then we also do fly you back home to your nearest international airport once you have completed your contract. I've mentioned about your visa as well. We reimburse that, which is $160. Also, we cover your insurance while you are on board, your personal insurance. So please don't, but you fell over, broke your arm or something, please don't. Okay, but we cover all of that. Don't go on board and say, Kate said it's fine. I didn't. And then also, I think it's important to know that there are doctors and nurses in a medical centre on board every ship. So if there is an emergency, they are there. Or if you just don't feel very well one day, you can go and get care and medication for free. And also super important that if there is an emergency with an immediate family member, we do a help in those certain circumstances to get you home as soon as possible as well, which is super important. And I personally went on cruise ships to travel the world and to get out of the UK for a little bit. And I kept going back for the money I was able to save, and also the career progression that I was able to have, which I've mentioned to you before, being able to go into spa management on board, which is definitely, I really enjoyed. And obviously still here 10 years later, but it is a big thing within our company that we only progress and promote our own staff. We don't just hire, for example, spa managers into that manager role, because it's such a different business to what happens on land. So we progress, promote, train into the spa managers, and from there, as Wayne mentioned, we have supervisors who are traveling roles, so for different professions, beauty, hair, fitness. And then from there we have head office in London. A lot of us have worked on board the ships. In Miami, pretty much everyone has worked on board ships as well and progressed into these roles. The big top boss, Tim Dux, he was a fitness instructor on board as well. He now works in Miami. So if, whether you're looking for just 1 or 2 contract experience, or you want to make it into something more, you can definitely do it within this job. But whether you're looking for travel, challenge, experience, saving money, I'm pretty sure you can find whatever you want within this job. And yeah, so this is my email address and my Instagram, Cruise with Kate. And on this Instagram, it's probably just me embarrassing myself with reels that you may have seen shared on Fit College. It is not my forte, but you will see people tag me in pictures, and I repost people's pictures of actual staff members that I have taken through the interview and recruitment training process and help get them onto the ship. So I think that's really nice to see what people are up to and on the ships. But don't be looking if it's miserable weather outside, which I mean, it's not usually in Australia, it's definitely here in the UK, when they're sitting on the beach in the Caribbean. But yeah, really nice to have a little checkout on there, and then obviously my email address as well. Now, moving forward, you are available to interview at any point from now. If you would like to get on to that 8th of May training in Australia, I would say probably the end of January, just because it takes some time to get all documents together, for example. January, February, yeah, would be the cutoff to be able to get somebody into the 8th of May training, to get everybody ready and prepared and your pre-learning organized before joining the training. If you agree, yeah, February. Oh no, hang on a minute, February, March. I can't. January, February, March, April. Yeah, probably the February, end of Feb, to get you all organized, ready for training. I forgot the calendar dates then. That's embarrassing.
It is early in the morning for us, Kate, so
I'll
let you off for
and
that.
you know what? I had a disaster. I only had enough milk for one coffee, and it wasn't as much milk as I normally like to have in my coffee. So as soon as this is complete, I'm running to the shop to get some more milk for another coffee this morning. But I'm good. I think I've done okay, considering at the time.
100%.
Perfect. So I don't know if anybody wants to have, or do you want to say anything more before we finish off, Wayne, or have anybody ask us questions?
Yeah, I think questions would be great. I just think the last subject you touched on is really, really important. The, senior vice president of One Spa World is an Australian who started on board cruise ships as a PT, right? And he did the same thing that Kate and I did. He wanted to get away from Oz. He wanted to travel and see the world. And now he, sits in an office in Miami, has an apartment on South Beach, and that's his new life. And none of us knew we were going to end up where we ended up. We just came out because we wanted something different. We wanted to travel. We wanted to make money, and it's created some incredible careers. Our business is growing faster than ever before. They build more and more new ships every year. So the opportunities for you are incredible. If I think back to my home gym, the person who was the gym manager 22 years ago is still the gym manager. I never could have taken over that job, no matter how much experience I had, because it was just a small place and there was no possibilities. Instead, I've gone out into the world and gained so much experience and knowledge, and now my CV and the way I read and my knowledge and experience that I've gained is fantastic. And so those opportunities are really, really exciting for people that want to continue to grow as well. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. Kate and Katie, if you're okay with having some questions, if anyone wants to ask us, I'm more than happy to stay around and answer some questions.
Yeah, I'm good as well with that. I don't know if anybody if people can unmute themselves to ask, or they must have to put it into the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I can view everyone on there, but in case I miss you, if you do have a question, raise your hand on Teams, or otherwise just begin to type it into the chat, and hopefully then I will see that and I can unmute you as well.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. You convinced me. What do you think Think College will say?
Michael has his hand up.
Cruise ship. Here we go. Let me find you here.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've done it. There we go. Michael, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hey guys, yeah, nice to meet you all. My question is what the average cost of a PT session on board is?
Yep, I can answer that one. So at the moment, our average cost is $99 US.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, you're welcome, Howard. And Connor, thank you. And Charlie. Oh, and Joel, sorry.
Yes.
Joel, you've got your mic, should be good. Joel, you should be able to use your mic. Oh. You're welcome, Anastasia. Mitchell, you should be able to unmute.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Wayne, did you see that question? Where will the academy be in Australia?
That's a good question. Being that we haven't been there for such a long time, that is something that we still need to figure out. So, you know, they say if you build it, they will come. So we're figuring out where we're going to be based. The last time we were based in Brisbane, but that doesn't mean we're going to be based in Brisbane this time. So that's still a decision that we need to make according to the numbers. So yeah, watch this space. We'll definitely let you know closer to the time, but definitely not as far away as the UK.
Yeah. Perfect. We will see, Mitchell. Mitchell, I've unmuted. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
So I was wondering, so obviously personal training can be quite a financially successful business, and like you can charge quite a bit for an individual personal training session. So what I was wondering is how much is the commission on an individual personal training session? Like, so how much does a personal trainer get from their actual session that they charge?
Yep. So if we look at the average cost being $99, so US dollars. So these, just so you're aware, Mitchell, these prices are confirmed by the cruise line. So even if I went on board and I wanted to charge 200 US dollars for a PT session, I wouldn't be allowed to, because there wouldn't be a payment button on the computer that would say 200. So these prices are confirmed by the cruise line. So let's say 99 US dollars, you would then earn your 4% of commission plus your auto gratuity, which Kate mentioned earlier. The average auto gratuity at the moment is 15. So we expect you to earn around 20% commission on that PT. So if your PT is, you know, $99, we expect you to take home 20 US dollars of that.
Yeah, okay, very nice.
Yep. Now just
so how
remember,
many
Mitchell,
features-
on that PT as well. So that is, you know, say 20 US dollars, and that is cost free, right? So you don't have to take tax away from that. You don't have to put petrol in your car for that. You don't have to buy lunch after the PT session. So even though it's you know, 20 US dollars on, you know, on paper, the actual income from it is a lot higher. Again, we mentioned tax, we mentioned food, etc. So all those are gone.
So the income tax doesn't actually apply to that $20?
No, we do not do anything with income tax. As far as we're concerned, the tax and what you choose to declare is entirely up to you. We have no policy on you know, sharing tax information. So as far as we're concerned, what you earn is between you and the tax man.
Awesome.
And Charlie, I think your mic's been unmuted if you did want to have some questions as well that you had.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I'm from India. So I want to know that how do I get into the interview process?
Is this
Oh,
with
okay. Yeah.
Alex?
So
Hi,
yours will be
Kate. I
slightly
have
different.
attended your seminar before from K11 School of Fitness Sciences, if you remember, a few months back. From Mumbai, K11 School of Fitness Sciences.
Is that me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm mentioning
Oh, okay.
that.
Yeah. So you're probably best just to email me separately, and then I can put you in contact with the right people for India.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just in regards to Amy's question, so yeah, 9 months and you are on the ship for the entirety of the contract. You will 99.9999% recurring stay within on the same ship. So that does really become your home. And it's consecutive cruising. So as you may have missed this, Amy, I know you missed a little bit of it, but the previous passengers from the cruise will leave in the morning and the new passengers will come on the ship by noon. So it's a fast turnaround, same day turnaround. So yeah, consecutive 9 months. In regards to Joel's question as well, the hope will be that we will also have more trainings in Australia going forward. But obviously, as you may appreciate, that after 10 years of not doing it, we do need to see what happens with our one in May, and fingers crossed all is good, and we will continue to be able to hold boot camps in Australia going forward.
For sure. And Joel, just on that point, if we're only holding one a year in Australia, you don't have to wait. You can get yourself in contact with Kate, tell her that you're keen, and we can find one of the other worldwide campuses that we're running training in. It's just that May date is a fantastic opportunity for people to stay in Australia and get their training done, as opposed to traveling to one of our campuses. So we have international campuses in Cape Town. We have international campuses in Manila. We have international campuses in Goa and India at the moment as well.
Serbia, Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. We've got them all over the world. But ideally, yeah, if you could, complete your training, or when you're close to completing your training, Joel, reach out to Kate, let her know where you're up to, and we can find one that's close by, or let you know when the next Australian one will be.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Wayne. And obviously, Tara, in regards to yours is, yeah, your commission and tip from your services and your retail. So that's your PTs, your one-on-one consultations, your gym classes, and then your retail aspect is your Good Feet and your supplements as well. Training will take 3 weeks.
Connor, did you want to jump in with your question?
Yeah, Connor?
If your mic's not working, feel free to type in the chat as well.
Connor, you should be able to unmute.
Can you hear me
There
now?
we go. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I was wondering how many guests on average take up the personal training services? Like, how many would we have the opportunity to sell to per cruise?
Yeah, so in regards to that, I think your PTs do vary, I think, because you can take them from your classes and also your seminars as well. So when you're doing your Good Feet and things like that, it's not just people in your PTs, but also the people that attend your gym classes, where we can have, anything from like 10 to 50 people in a class. Also in your seminars, there's different ways of promoting those to get a lot of people in front of you for those. So, I mean, it does also depend on your ship, right? As you know, I mentioned earlier, whether we have 1 fitness, 2 or 3, whether if it's 1 PT, you're looking at 1,000 plus passengers. If you're looking at a ship with 3 PTs, you're looking at ships with 5,000, 6,000 passengers. So it just varies on how you're splitting it up between the 3 fitness, 2 fitness, 1 fitness as well. So I would say like 1,000, 2,000 passengers each if you're going to split it up in that dimension.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to add to that as well, and this comes in a little bit in what I do with Fit College. So when you look at, there's people on a ship, they might not all want to train, but a lot of the objections to people wanting to exercise will be things like time, will be things like how convenient it is for them to get to the gym, for example. So there's one gym on the ship, or one lot of employees on the ship, and time's not going to be an issue because they're on holidays. As I think it was Wayne who mentioned earlier, people like to spend money on holidays, guilty. On land, pretty stringent. On holidays, take my money. And also too, time is another thing. When you think on land in the fitness industry, you're most likely working, around people's work schedules, whereas when people are on holidays, they're able to take so many more different times. They're so much more flexible with time. So there's those factors to sort of look at there as a, you know, land versus sea differences there within the industry. So it's another thing to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Katie. And I'm sort of looking at Mitchell's question there around how many PT sessions could a trainer feasibly do in a day. And I think to answer that, Mitchell, I would talk you through what I would normally be doing, because my goal is not to be doing back-to-back PT sessions. My goal would be to bring a guest into the gym. The first thing I would want to do would be a body composition analysis. Before I start any personal training, there's two analyses I want to do. Number one is a body composition analysis, and number two is a posture analysis. You know, I don't want a client to start squatting if they've got pes planus or flat foot, right, where they're going into a pronated state. So in our ideal mind, we would sit down with a client, and our composition, our analysis could be anywhere between $69 and $99. So even before we start the PT session, you know, we've earned ourselves in US dollars. Well, if I convert it to Australian, we've earned ourselves 20 to 30 US dollars tax-free just doing that initial assessment. Now, from that assessment, we notice that the guest suffers from poor energy. Okay, so is personal training the best route to go down straight away for somebody that has low energy levels and suffers from digestion problems? Probably not. How energetic are they going to feel about exercising? So rather than just say, okay, I'm going to give you an exercise program, this is where we'd start to talk to the guest about nutrition and microbiome. So we add on a nutrition session. So I've saw them at 9 o'clock on Monday morning for an assessment, and we've figured out what's going on in their body. Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, I book them in for their nutrition. So that's a $99 charge. So there you go. There's another Australian $30. So my day the next day doesn't start with PT. It starts with nutrition, which is what I need to get that guest the energy to get back into the gym. During that nutrition session, we uncover that there are several digestion problems that are a clear, visible sign that the nutrients they're eating are not being absorbed through the small intestine correctly. So that's where we would start to recommend microbiome supplementation. And just to give you a ballpark figure, you know, you're earning on recommending a microbiome supplementation program. You know, you could be looking at anywhere between 80 to 200 Australian dollars in a 30-minute session. So, you know, I may have made 20 from my initial consultation. Let's use Australian dollars. I may have earned 30 from my first hour. I earned an extra 30 from my nutrition, and then I had an add-on of an extra 200 Australian dollars for the microbiome program. And that's only been 2 hours at work. Now, I haven't started the PT session yet, but that's already going to be close to $300. Then we add on the PT session, because our focus is not on giving people, you know, just PT on board. It's about giving them a program that they can take home that no personal trainer will have ever given them before. You know, think about it. How many PTs do you know out there focusing on microbiome supplementation? You know, and then we add on, we notice that they've got pronation of the foot. So rather than getting them into the gym and getting them squatting, the first thing we want to do is a balance test. And then we can introduce them to the Good Feet arch supports, which help to correct that supination or pronation. And from that, that's an extra 30 Australian dollars that you could put in your pocket. So, you know, it's my expectation that you guys will receive the training and you'll take these guests on a journey. I normally expect to work with 10 guests, and I expect each of those guests throughout the journey of, you know, personal training, nutrition, supplementation. Each of those guests I expect to be spending around about $1,000 with me. So I'm not looking for hundreds and hundreds of PT sessions. We're here to give them an internal and external program that works on, you know, the fitness of the heart, the strength of the muscles, improving the posture, and good digestive system health and anti-inflammatory inflammation. So when you look at all that stuff together, you actually don't have time to just do, you know, 10 PT sessions a day, because, you know, you're getting in your other bits and pieces which make up the complete program.
Is there anyone that has questions that we've possibly missed? I know a few people do still have their hands up. I think you've asked your questions already, but
Yeah.
if you're able to unmute yourself, yeah, please let us know if you still have questions.
Yep, so I just see Mitchell's question there. He says, so we're less personal trainers and more fitness wellness consultations. I would say we are personal trainers, but we are the future of personal trainers. You know, in the future, personal trainers will not just be focusing on exercise. We have an important role, which is to bridge the gap between exercise and what the medical community is not giving us. You know, so the medical community is great at giving us advice on taking pills to lower blood pressure, but they're normally pretty poor at giving us advice on how to use nutrition to lower blood pressure. So we are that. We are the future of personal training, and we are bridging the gap between healthcare and fitness. So that we are personal trainers. We're just not conventional PTs that focus on exercise only. Says, is there a rate for group sessions? So yes, so we got a couple of options for group sessions. If they come along to a yoga class, they pay on average around $20 US for a yoga class. So if you get 10 people into your yoga class, that would be 200 200 US dollars, which your commission would be around 30 Australian dollars for that. That's just an average of 10 people in a class. Some of our classes are more. So, for example, we have TRX on board, and those classes are around $45 to $55 per class. So that can vary as well.
Also, I just want to add in quickly here in regards to something on the classes that we are mainly it's not unusual to have added tips as well, which does not come under that minimum 800. So, for example, Mitchell, thank you so much for the classes this week. I've really enjoyed it. They might give you cash in hand tip as well for you. That it's just a little bit of extra cash in the pocket.
Beautiful. Now, has everybody jotted down Kate's contact information that she does have on the screen? So, Kate, just to clarify, if people are interested and they are wanting to take that next step, should they just reach out to you via email? Is that their first
yeah, so I'm just putting my email address back in the chat again for anybody who did miss that. You are more than welcome to contact me directly, or you can go to our website, which is londonwellnessacademy.com as well, and you can apply online through there. But I will be honest, the application still just comes directly to me anyway, so I cover that inbox. So yeah, you're more than welcome to email me directly, send me through your CV, or as well, if you do have any further questions, you are more than welcome to contact me as well. Obviously, just please excuse the time zone. I will be honest, I'm not usually at my laptop at 6:30 in the morning, especially on a Saturday. So
yeah, give you guys a heads up. Wayne and Kate are actually, it's what, 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., something like that for you guys.
Yeah,
right
we started
now?
at 6:30. It's now nearly 8 a.m. Yeah. So
hence why we've made the seminar at this time, because obviously we didn't want them to get up in the middle of the night to have to run the seminar.
And I'm not sure if anybody realized that it was just progressively getting lighter in my background from the kitchen and things like that. So
cool.
Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, I think everyone's good. I think. Good.
Guys, thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Wayne and Kate, so much for jumping on. That was excellent. It was really informative. Guys, if you're interested, obviously you know what to do from here. And who knows, maybe if I go on a holiday, I might be trained by you. Who knows?
Fantastic. And Katie, thank you so much for putting this all together as well.
Yeah,
it's been a real pleasure to meet the group. And so fantastic. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whether it's starting or halfway through. And yeah, thanks again.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.